I must have stuck this dude 50 times. And then I see him run off, and there's drains from where, where it rains, and I'm watching, he throws the shank down the drain, and he runs over to the volleyball court, starts playing volleyball. So the first time I went to prison, um, it was it was a little bit different than jail. I had been to jail multiple times, and everybody was telling me like stories about when they if they had been and what they'd heard about it. And first things first is I had to separate people telling me what they had heard, and as opposed to the people that had actually went and what they knew. So I just listened, and I put together my own takings of what I was up against, what I was looking forward to. And the first thing I did was they called my name for the prison run. And you take what you got to take, which is very very limited to what they allow to take with you. Like it's only so much mail, pictures, or whatever they allow. They count all them things, and they only give you the allowance of so many. So I get on the prison bus. Everybody's kind of quiet because it's early in the morning for one, and then you're just hit with all this transportation and shackled up and handcuffed up, and you can only walk so far steps with your shackles on. Then you might be next to some people that you don't know what they're going for, because nobody speaks on that. But it's like, you do know one thing. You're going to do some time in a place where there's all walks of life. And when I mean that, I mean by charges. All walks of life as far as charges go. You got people in there that might be in there for like 3 misdemeanors that wasn't of no value, so to speak. They had no weight behind them, and then you could be in there with a serial killer. So all these thoughts are running through my head. I'm getting on this van, and we're going to the local what's it called, reception center. And we get there, and as soon as we get off the bus, they're screaming at us. Yeah, all this bad names, and I'm talking about the worst names. I mean, they call you everything but what you are, and you no longer have a name. I mean, your name is a number. They give you a number, and that's how you answer. That's how you deliver your appearance when you speak to someone, an officer, inmate so and so, or da 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 da. And so you learn real quick that your name matters no more. You ain't got a name. You got a number, and that's who you are. Everything about your value is your number. So they're screaming at us, and they're, don't look me in the eye and all this. You better look at the ground and don't look. And I'm just like, man, if this is what it's gonna be, like, my God, I mean, I had some people telling me that like it was real bad, but I didn't believe them. Like, I'm like, I've been through a lot of things in life, and I can adjust accordingly. And it came to the point that within the first 10 minutes, I was like, man, all right, now I got these dudes in my face. I'm talking about officers. They're spitting and all that. I mean, just like, from screaming so loud in your face, and look at the ground, and you're going to be this and that. You're going to be somebody's, what, and all this stuff. So I'm just trying to be cool, calm, and collected. Let me go on and figure this out one step at a time, which seemed like eternity at this point, because I'm talking about these officers don't stop. Don't stop. I'm talking about this is what they do all day long, is try to just terrorize your well-being and I mean your thoughts on being anybody. They just break you down. And some of the guys, they some of the inmates, they popped off, and it wasn't nice when they popped off, because they, before you know it, we're still restrained. And even if they took the restraints off us, these guys are ending up on the ground, because what are you gonna do? I mean, what are you really gonna do? I don't care how tough you are. I don't care who you done beat up before or how many people you done beat up before, because I've done my share, and I've done my share of getting beat up. And it doesn't matter with these guys because they're gonna win. So pop off if you want to, but they did do that, some of them, and then we caught on real quick to what we were not what to not do, and I fell into that category. Well, then they strip you down and they doing this to you with no clothes on. Now, take in mind you standing there with nothing on, and your dignity's gone. They've already called you everything and told you was going to be somebody's what and all this. So they're telling you this while you're naked. So I'm already not liking the situation. It's seeming like, this is real. I got somebody telling me that I'm not nothing and all this stuff, and I'm butt naked while they're telling me that. So I'm thinking my life is pretty much in shambles right now. I done made a wrong turn somewhere. And so when they strip you down, then they go to looking at you. And I'm talking about looking at you like they go to reading tattoos and all this. And take in mind from my other videos, if you hadn't known, I have tattoos all over me, and I have certain tattoos for certain things that seem to gather their attention. And of course, they knowing with certain organizations in the prison and this and that they know everything's affiliated and all this stuff. There are a whole bunch of affiliations in the prison system, and they go to looking at me, and one of them looks at me, and he's like, hey Jim, or whatever his other officers that come check this one out. Come check this, POS out or whatever, And he's like, oh, this one here is old. He's saying that I'm all in on what I was representing. All these, they're just picking at me because of what I had markings on me, and they were reading through it, into it, and whatnot, and making their own opinions about what I was gonna be. I guess how that they had to figure they had to keep an eye on me or whatever, because I was gonna be future problems for them. Well, they didn't know me. They didn't know anything about me. This is them making assumptions, but I'm already at their mercy. So I sit there and I eat it, I take it, and I go, I get through the process, and then they sit you down in a cage in you nothing but your boxers, and you're on this cold steel bench, and you're sitting there while they go through the different medical exams and getting you through all this classification, and you're just sitting in there like with nothing. You can't talk. You got to look straight at the wall. You can't look at anybody, or they're gonna flip you. They're really gonna just come in, and they're gonna scream in your face some more, and they're gonna dump you on your head. And I mean, there's nothing to do. So you just gotta just go with the motions, man. And I'm this is my first time, so I'm taking it all in. It's pretty intense, but I've been through a lot. So, like I said, I can adjust accordingly to my environment. So I learned real quick to adjust in this environment. And so we sit there all day, and they issue your linens and all that and everything, and they get you checked out medically, and they find out, if you're on medication, all this other stuff, and then they classify you with your wristband or your ID card, sorry about that, ID card, to what priority level you are, if you're high risk, if you're this and that. And I have some restrictions on mine due to being what they were looking at on me on the tattoos and this and that. So they flag you for different stuff and all that, and they put you in all these categories, but you're still a number. So we get through that, and I finally get my blues assigned to me, that they got your name on them and all that, because you're gonna be doing a little bit of time. I mean, you could be only doing a short amount of time, but most guys aren't. So I was on the lower end. I didn't have much time. I had got sentenced to, I believe, when it was the first time, it was 2 years. 2 years, and I had a little bit of county time in credited towards that. So and here in the great state of Florida, we do 85% of our time, which is, I think there's one other state that still has their people doing that much time. But anyways, it is what it is. You do crime, you pay for it. So I got my chin up, and I'm just doing my business. And they classify you. We get to go to our cells and over to our dormitories where we're at, and we're walking by the yard and the rec yard, and it's open. You know, everybody, which means everybody's out. They got certain dorms out to where people are, and these guys. I mean, you're with the new guys, so you got these guys out here working out and stuff. I mean, some of these jokers are so big. I'm talking about they're broad, like, wide as all outdoors, and that's all they've been doing is working out for God knows how many years, and that's all they do. So they're looking at us and like we're the new meat, you know what I'm saying? So, and I'm already not with all that. I heard that part of it. I'm like, all right, somebody's finna try me. All right, somebody's finna try me. So I'm already fixing to do what I got to do to go home and get the record straight, and I'm standing on my 10 toes. So the people, the things that you see so quick and so much, it's like you got the the guys that like other guys, and you got that going on, which I'm talking about. They're dressing the whole role, walking around covering each other's face in Skittles like it's makeup. I'm talking about, they done had outfits made in the laundry room, your canteen bag, they got that, which it's a mesh net, which they have them cut into little shorts like girls wear. I'm talking about they're strutting around, just winking and blowing kisses and sucking on lollipops and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, man, this is something else. I done seen it. I thought I seen it all. But now, I mean, I'm having to add to the collection because this is a sight for sore eyes here. And then you got your little groups and affiliations. Everybody's in a group because they told me, that's one of the things they told me. They said, you can't get by doing time by yourself. You gonna have to roll with somebody. And I'm thinking like, okay, so, but I'm already got, I already got tats all over me, so I'm already predestined to go a certain way. Well, that did happen as I got out onto the yard and got settled in with find out who my bunkie was and all that, the person in the cell with me. And, and it did help being, friends with a certain group of people, because even though we don't know each other, people that are affiliated with other people, they look out for you right off the bat. And so, I knew which direction I had to go. And, I'd see some of these guys, like, we go out to the first yard, which is time to go out and, and you have to go. There ain't no, I want to just stay in. Yeah, well, you stay in your cell and tell them you don't want to go out if you want to. I'm talking about this place, you don't do anything you want to do anymore. I'm talking about, there's ways once you learn, because, they always say, there's a difference between an inmate and a convict. An inmate, somebody's been in county jail. Convict, they've been convicted and been in prison. There is a difference. When you learn to be a convict, you learn to live as best as you can under the conditions. And I learned real quick how to do that. And, there was so much to become acclimated to, and in such a quick time, because it just hits you. Once, you got everybody telling you all this and intake and everything, all these officers, all this, then all of a sudden, once they stop talking to you and you get to yourself, it's like it's on you. You're in this new world. Here's where you're at within this fence, and let's see how you do. And I'm talking about, I go out on the yard, and we're all the new guys, so everybody in the prison yard is staring at us, waiting for us to come out, because they're trying to see what we got, what we're here for, what we brought from the county that they're not able to get. They're wanting to buy everything off of us like anything. I mean, it's stupid. But if it's something that they don't get at the prison, they want to buy it because it's something they can't get. And I'm talking about the dumbest thing. It doesn't matter. If it could be a t-shirt that's a different brand than what they got. If it says Hanes on it, they're willing to pay God knows how much for it. So I'm talking about, there's a lot of stuff to get used to with this, and I will say way of life, because for some it becomes a way of life. And so they're looking at us, and I'm going out there and this and that, and it's hot out, so I take my shirt off. You're allowed to take your shirt off. Well, right off the bat, that's when everybody's gonna look. They're gonna see if you got markings on you. They're gonna see what you about. So, my people come over there with me. Like, I had certain people when I got in where I fit in, and I started figuring out how I was gonna have to do this thing, and I'm just seeing so much, and I look, I'm just sitting on the bench, and at the time you could smoke cigarettes, and I'm smoking me a cigarette, and I look over, and I'm watching around, taking it all in, trying to figure, I'm on my toes right now, because this is not, there's nothing comforting about this environment. So I'm watching this dude, and I hear somebody yell, and I look over, and I'm watching this dude. He comes out of nowhere, like he's like, yo, 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 and nothing's happened yet, but I see this dude where everybody's looking. He runs over, and he just starts sticking this dude, sticking him repeatedly, bam, 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 and he's stabbing him. And I'm like, man, and I'm talking about the dude's falling on the ground. I mean, blood's coming out of everywhere, and I'm just sitting here like, is this, man? No, man, come on, man, this is. I mean, I knew it was gonna, but it doesn't have to live up to everything I heard. And I'm just seeing this dude on the ground. I'm talking about, and then he runs, he's stabbing this dude. This dude's on the ground. He must have stuck this dude 50 times. And then I see him run off, and there's drains from where where it rains, and I'm watching. He throws the shank down the drain, and he runs over to the volleyball court, starts playing volleyball. And I mean, there's so many people out there that's like, I'm like, man, how many of us seen this? But don't nobody say nothing. And so the medical comes out, they lock the yard down, and they come out and get the dude, and like, they're like, who did it? And the dude done ran off so slick, like, and he playing volleyball, like, looking like one of the spectators, like, oh my God, what happened? And I'm like, man, this is what it is. This is really what I got to look forward to in this while my time here, and how easy it is. And by the way, the guy didn't make it, so I watched a dude get killed on my first time in prison, and I realized that this is what I was up against, and so it began. That my first time in prison, that was my that was my greeting to prison,